Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seahawks recap show with your host, Ryan Koki. And welcome to week 7 game recap Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. And man, I don't know if it's just me, but Seahawks fans, how we feeling after that win? Very stressful, it seems, man. Like, honestly, opponent that we should probably have dead to rights, and it just man, it's just so agonizing sometimes because I thought we were going to lose that game. Like, honestly, there were some plays in there in that second half where I just thought, wow, if we lose this game, I'm not going to be okay. Like, it's not going to be good. Luckily, we didn't end up losing the game, even though we looked like we were going to. Let's get in to breaking down the Seahawks win over the Arizona Cardinals at Lumen Field, shall we? So, week 7, nice to see another win on the board. It was 20-10 Seahawks win, and let's talk about the Seahawks stats real quick. They had 318 total yards, had 203 passing yards, 115 rushing yards, had 5.5 yards per play, had 18 first downs, went 7th for 13 on third down efficiency. That is okay. Against the Cardinals, I would have liked to see it a bit higher. I probably would have liked to see 10 for 13, but I'll take it. And we didn't go for it on fourth down because we really didn't need to. So it's nice to see that. We had 58 total plays, 2 sacks allowed, 3 punts, 5 penalties for 32 yards given up, 2 fumbles lost. I'll get into those. And 1 interception thrown from Geno Smith to a rookie corner. But they had 30 minutes and 32 seconds of possession time in this game. On the other side, the Cardinals, they had 249 total yards, 122 passing yards, 127 rushing yards. They had 4 yards per play, 15 first downs. They went 5 for 15 on third down efficiency, and they went 0 for 3 on fourth down. The reason why they went 0 for 3 on fourth down is because they needed a touchdown to at least tie the game up in the fourth. So that's why their fourth down conversion rate is abysmal. 63 total plays, 4 sacks, 5 punts, 7 penalties for 60 yards given up, no fumbles, and no interceptions for 29 minutes and 28 seconds of possession time. Ryan's focus players. Now, let's talk about Geno Smith for a moment. He went 18 for 24, had 219 yards, 2 touchdowns to the rookies, Jake Bobo and Jackson Smith-Njigba, and the 1 forced pass on the 1 yard line in the red zone to the rookie corner of the Cardinals. And man, the decision making by Geno Smith. I like Geno Smith, but if he's gonna make those type of decisions on forcing some passes that aren't really there, he needs to figure that kind of decision making out because he's looked pretty bad over the past 2 games with some of his decisions that he's made. Let's talk about Kenneth Walker. With no Zach Charbonnet helping him out, he carried most of the workload today. So he had 26 carries for 105 yards, averaged 4 yards per carry with 0 touchdowns. And man, Kenneth Walker is becoming my favorite player, honestly, on the Seahawks offense because he can run and he can run really well. Like, he's got the elusiveness to be an elusive back, and then he's got the power, so he can lower his shoulder if he needs to and get through tackles. And that's exactly what he did with the secondary of the Cardinals today. So really nice to see Kenneth Walker getting over 100 yards this game. And we get to the wide receiver. So excited for this. Jackson Smith and Jigba have a day. Both rookies, Jake Bobo and Jackson Smith and Jigba, had very good days, almost identical numbers. And that's what happens, man. That's what happens when DK is not there because the wide receivers, the other wide receivers, especially those 2 rookies, need to step up, and they did today. It was really nice to see. And you know what, Jackson Smith and Jigba, let's get into your stats. 4 receptions for 63 yards, averaged 15.8 yards per reception and had his first career NFL touchdown in the first touchdown of the game. Really nice to see. I really want to see more from Jackson Smith and Jigba because this game proves to me that he's a really good player and they really need to start utilizing him. I know they have Tyler Lockett. I know they have DK Metcalf, and now they have Jackson Smith, but they need to figure out ways to get the ball into Jackson's hands because he did very well this game. Same with Jake Bobo. If they can spread everything around, it would be so much nicer because these guys have talent on this roster. I just don't want to see them be cookie cutter with it and actually utilize the people that they have. Let's get to the Cardinals offense. Josh Dobbs went 19 for 33 with 146 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Honestly, decent game from Josh Dobbs. He made some runs in this game where I was like, man, I never knew Josh Dobbs was that good because I never really saw Josh Dobbs really play, you know, and he's a tough man to bring down. Like there were a couple plays there where the secondary was having trouble bringing him down. And I'm like, what? How? Who is this guy? Why is he so hard to bring down? So nice to see from Josh Dobbs. And now we get to the running back, and I'm gonna probably mess up his name. Amari uh DeMarco. He had 13 carries for 58 yards, averaged 4.5 yards per carry, and 0 touchdowns. He had a decent game. It's just a very hard defensive front from this Seattle defense. And you know what? You guys are some of the best rushing attack in the league right now, going up against one of the best defensive run stoppers in the league right now. So I'm not surprised by this outcome. And we get to the wide receiver. It's Marquise Brown, or Hollywood Brown, as a lot of people call him. 3 receptions for 49 yards, 16.3 yards per reception, and 0 touchdowns. Marquise Brown, nice to see him finding a little bit of a home. Every time in press man coverage, he seems to want to beat that, and he seems to beat that very well. So when he was on Trey Brown, because Trey Brown was his opponent in this game, and he was getting help from the safety. If the safeties weren't there, Marquise would have had a better game on the stat sheet. Let's get to the reason why I think we won this game. It's the defense of the Seahawks. And let's talk about a guy that I've talked about a lot. It's Jarran Reed. 1 solo tackle, 1 assisted tackle, 1 sack to finish off the game and seal it for the Seahawks. The defense really did well in this game, even when things weren't looking too hot. They showed up and dominated. So it's really nice to see. Now we get to safety, strong safety, Jamal Adams. Great to have him back. 5 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, but just so nice to have his presence. He is a box safety. So what that means is he'll line up like a linebacker and he'll provide extra support, whether that's blitzing the quarterback or just having an extra coverage guy to cover around. But usually he's blitzing, even though he didn't get any sacks in this game. Just his presence on the football field makes that middle of the field just a lot more nice and a lot more condensed for these wide receivers because he's a big hitter, man. It's really nice to see Jamal Adams getting back on the field after all his injuries in the Seahawks uniform. I really like him and hope he stays healthy for the rest of the season. Let's get into linebacker and let's talk about middle linebacker Jordan Brooks again. Man, it was a toss up between Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks this game. 6 solo tackles, 3 assisted tackles, and a half sack there for him, and 0 interceptions. But watching Jordan Brooks, the reason why I didn't pick Bobby Wagner was Jordan Brooks was everywhere this game. Pass deflect, at least 2 pass deflections that I could like see, pass breakups. There was a bunch of things he was doing, and it's really nice to see that he is the future of this linebacking core and having a mentor like Bobby Wagner. Man, when Bobby Wagner eventually has to leave the team due to retirement, I think this linebacking core will be in good hands with Jordan Brooks. On the other side, you got the Cardinals defense, and they really showed up. Honestly, I really like what they're doing here. Let's talk about Kevin Strong Jr. He had one solo tackle, four assisted tackles, one sack, zero interceptions, and he really did well. Like, he was pushing through double teams, and the one sack that he got, he pushed through the double team, pushed through that whole offensive line, and then fell over, had enough time to get up and still sack Geno Smith. Like, the man was relentless. And that's something that I think the Cardinals are not given enough credit for. Even though they're losing, they're a rebuilding team, man. That's what they do. And they're hungry for their wins, and they'll try to keep the games close when they can. So it's nice to see that Kevin Strong never gave up on the play and got the sack. But we get to another strong safety, and this is Buda Baker off of IR, missed the first, 5 games of the season? So he comes back in his debut of sorts, and he has 6 solo tackles. Just a tackling machine. 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, but just a big guy. Like, he is someone that, again, like a Jamal Adams, hits hard. He's a lot more of a coverage guy, and he can cover decently well, but he's there to wrap up runs when things go haywire. He's one of the cornerstones of this Cardinals defense. And if you're going to do a rebuild, you like having Buda Baker on your team for it. And we get to the linebacker spot. It's Josh Woods. And to tell you the truth, I don't know much about Josh Woods, but he looks like he had a pretty decent game. 4 solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. And we look at this, and the amount of just hunger that the Cardinals have right now, even though they're not winning games, they're trying to keep it close again. And it's really nice to see. And I think John Gannon is really building something here with the Arizona Cardinals. It's his first season. He's going 1-5 right now, but give him time and give this team time and give this team a little extra star power, and they'll make the playoffs, I think, in no time. My final thoughts. What went well? The defense showed up again today, which is just something that I think we're just going to need to get used to. I know it's really weird as a Seahawks fan to say something we need to get used to is a good defense. What? That's a weird thing to say, because we haven't had a really good defense in a very long time, I think, since the Legion of Boom days, but that's just me. It was a great game, from the defense, especially in the second half. That was the second half had me going into some form of like angst, because we literally couldn't do anything. 3 offensive turnovers, one by Geno Smith, and the other just from a special teams fumble by DJ Dallas, and another fumble from the rookie center that we have right now, going in for Evan Brown. But man, we just couldn't do anything on offense. And it looks like when the offense struggled, that the defense just showed up and paid their dues, took their lumps, and just showed out and made some big plays. So it's really nice. And also something that I didn't put on here. Good job from both the rookies today for wide receivers. Ultimately, great wide receiver group. Jake Bobo is a great guy that we just picked up in training camp, and he's shown his worth. Went from Duke to UCLA, now into the Seahawks outfit. It's really nice to see. Need more Bobo in my life when the going gets tough. He's really shown up. And, again, Jackson Smith and Jigba, I really like him, showing us why he was first wide receiver off the board and picked in the first round, 20th overall. I would like to see more schemes. Can't really complain. 4-2 on the season. What to improve on? The only thing that really bugs me about this game was that the offensive turnovers. Geno Smith, man, again, like I said, his decision making as of the last 2 games, we could have lost this easily. If the defense did not show up that day, we would have lost to the Cardinals, and I would have been on here ripping my hair out, because just watching the offensive turnovers back to back to back, that second half was some of the worst football I've seen from Geno Smith. A lot of that yardage, a lot of his stats came in that first half. He played really good in the first half, but that second half really needs to be cleaned up, and we really need to figure out what's going on there. All in all, though, I think it was a really good game. Again, the Seahawks improved to 4-2. It really looks like we just need to clean up some of the offensive turnovers. And if the defense can hold their own, this can be a playoff team, man. I honestly really think that. And the Cardinals, they tried their hearts out. Again, they have no Kyler Murray, so they don't have their starting QB. Humphrey, their left tackle, was ejected from this game. That's another starter that was down. So they had to bring in another guy on that offensive line. And give this team a little bit firepower, give this team a little bit more star power, maybe another defensive dynamo. I don't know. Give them something, not only in the draft, but also in free agency. And you can see this team just flip around. John Gannon played a good game. He went a little aggressive and some of his play calling was a little bit questionable. But he's a first-year head coach. This is his learning period. So cut him some slack, Cardinals fans, and everybody in general. I know people will rip on him, but he's not with his best lineup. So honestly, Cardinals, you played your hearts out, man. All the power to you. And Josh Dobbs, again, honestly, he's not too bad. I was really impressed with him today. His run, the run that he got, so he got a rushing touchdown. That was the only touchdown. He ran for 25 yards. He literally ran for 25 yards, shrugged off Quandre Diggs and Tariq Woolen to get that touchdown. He is a man on a mission. And I think he's a really hard guy to bring down. And that just shows he's making the most of what he can do. And when Kyler comes back, if Kyler's not 100% right, I think you can rely on Josh Dobbs just a little bit more and be okay. But anyways, good win from the Seahawks. This has been Ryan Koki of the Seahawks Recap Show. Game recap for Week 7. Seahawks versus Cardinals. 4-2 on the season. Let's try to make it 5-2 against the Browns in Week 8. Go Hawks, go! And I will see you on Saturday for News of the Week, episode 12.